Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for this month's Visit Mendocino County, Magic is Real. We are exploring a hidden gem right here in the county, and it is music. We have lots to talk about and lots to listen to, so stay with us for Visit Mendocino County, Magic is Real. I'm on the corner of Caston and Main Streets here in Mendocino, and see this big, beautiful historic building? Upstairs there are the executive offices of Mendocino Music Festival. It is such a beautiful event that takes place for 2 weeks. You and I together are going to learn more about it. Come on along. Here we are. We came indoors from experiencing the beautiful, clean, fresh Mendocino air, but now we're in this gorgeous conference room inside a historic building located just off Main Street in Mendocino, so we could visit Barbara Faulkner, Executive Director of the Mendocino Music Festival. Hi, Barbara.
Hello.
So wonderful to see you.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here in this beautiful room. And we are right above where?
We're right above Out of This World, which is an amazing science store. And our other neighbor is an independent bookstore, the Gallery Books, right across the street.
So if you ever come to visit Mendocino Music Festival, your office is here. You can just stroll up and down the main street because there's a lot to see and there's a lot to do, and that's why we're here to talk to you about.
Right.
Tell us about your music festival, the Mendocino Music Festival.
Okay, well, this Mendocino Music Festival has been going on for many years. This will be the 38th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is. And it started out a tiny festival in, well, I should tell people it's in a tent, a large white tent, but the original tent was gold and blue striped because nobody thought to order a white tent.
So it looked like the circus was in town.
Yes. And originally it was just a classical festival, and it was a week long. And classical music is still the heart of it. We have a full-size orchestra made up mostly of Bay Area professionals that come up, and it's kind of like summer camp for them.
They're going to band camp.
Exactly. But we love all kinds of music, and we produce all kinds of music. We usually have some Celtic music, some bluegrass music, often Cajun music, some contemporary a cappella. We have a chamber music series. We have an amazing big band.
What makes it so successful? Is music that important to Mendocino County?
Music is very important.
Yeah.
And I think not just to Mendocino County. I think music is what helps us be human. It's a way for people to express themselves and to experience each other as they listen to the music. I think it's a very uniting force.
It is, yeah.
And live music. Well, let's stress that, because sometimes people say, well, why come though? I can listen to this at home. And I always have to say there's nothing like hearing it produced right in the moment. It'll never, ever be like that again.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. And in the moment with the best scenery in town.
Yeah.
The best scenery in the state of California, because we are literally right on, okay, you get a map of the state of California and you see the edge, that's where we are.
Yes.
Right with the ocean right there.
And right out there where I'm pointing is a grassy field right on the bay. And right now it's just an empty, grassy field. And then we pop up a whole tent concert hall, complete with stage, lights, drapes, a floor, 830 seats.
Oh, that's wonderful. I was going to ask, how many people can this tent occupy? You're saying 830 seats. So it's a festival, but you're not standing around moving and grooving. You actually have a seat.
It's a concert format.
It's a concert format.
Yeah.
830 seats. That's a lot of seats.
It's a very big tent.
Where does everybody park?
Well, there's a lot of parking actually, not necessarily right on Main Street out here, but Mendocino has a series of side streets, and then there are little cut-throughs that go.
So 830 seats, and this goes on for 2 weeks, one event per day?
No, actually there's more to the story, because we also have a second venue.
Oh.
Which is just a couple blocks further down the street. It's the Fellowship Hall for the Mendocino Presbyterian Church.
Oh, that's a beautiful church.
Yeah, that's a beautiful church. And the hall is it's our intimate venue. It's redwood, it's cozy, it seats about 100. Okay. And so we have an event there every day.
Okay.
And then we have an event in the tent just about every evening. We have 2 dark nights, one each week.
My goodness, this brings a lot of business to Mendocino.
It does, actually. Yeah, we did an economic study, impact study, several years ago, and we found we were bringing $1.5 million into the county during our festival. So,
all right, now speaking of the festival, it's coming up this July.
This July.
Can you tell me who's going to be playing?
No.
Oh, come on. You can tell me, just give me a little clue. At least one person.
I cannot tell you. Well, I can tell you that you'll see our artistic directors, Alan Pollock and Susan Waterfall.
Okay.
But we're just in the process of lining up our acts, and but I can tell you that we have the same genres every year. So.
All right, that's good to know. So people watching and listening to this podcast, we've intrigued them, and they're curious now about who's going to be performing at the Mendocino Music Festival this year in 2024. How can they find out information, and how can they find out the lineup, and how can they find out about ticket prices?
They can go to our website. And also, by the time this podcast is airing, we'll have our ticket brochures out. And so that gives you the lineup, and Facebook.
So how long have you been associated with the Mendocino Music Festival?
A long time, actually. I attended the very first festival.
38 years ago. How has it changed from then to now?
It's much bigger and it's much more professional.
Ooh.
Yeah. At first, the orchestra was made up of about half locals and about half Bay Area professionals. And there was a kind of magic to that, because the locals were inspired to play with the people that played better than they did. And the pros were inspired by people that were playing just for the love of it. And a few years in, the festival started producing other kinds of music. We have an amazing, just hot big band, and that was originally just a fundraiser.
Oh, I think that'd be fun.
And it's not just big band music. It's like anything can be played with that big band configuration, and they're just outrageous musicians.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
How fun.
So, yeah, it's gotten, and it used to be a week, and then it became 10 days, and then it became 2 weeks so that we could have 3 weekends.
Oh, my goodness. I hear you play a mean piano. Is this true?
Well, I am a pianist. Needless to say, I don't have a lot of time for that right now.
No, not when you're the executive director of the Mendocino Music Festival that hosts 830 people a night.
Yeah, it is quite a project.
Yes, it is.
But
I mean, that's a huge undertaking.
It is. It's so worth it, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we have an amazing team that works on it. And I tell you, seeing the tent full, or even partially full, of people that are just outrageously joyful and filled up with music, and sharing that, it's incredibly rewarding.
Can we find this any place else
No,
in
I
the
don't
country?
think so.
This big, beautiful white tent boasting 830 people gathered to watch this music that's lofting in the air along the seashore?
No, I really don't think it is like anything else. And that's always, seems like kind of an extreme statement, but I have done a little bit of research, and having a festival that's right on the coast, I mean, people really need to understand that this is right on the bluffs of Mendocino.
It is. You could fall off. If you could fall off the cliff, you got to be careful. You got to watch your step, okay?
And then also we have all these kinds of music. So one guy came up to me last year and said, I don't even know where I am. I can't even imagine that I could be somewhere where I could hear, you know, Daphne and Chloe and bluegrass and go to an independent bookstore all within a block of each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't forget the chocolate store.
And the chocolate store.
Yeah, I've spotted that one. I've tasted many treats from that store.
Right.
Yes, I have. Do you serve food or?
Well, we serve minimal food. We serve wine. Mm-hmm. We're fortunate that Mendocino County wineries are happy each one to pour a night, and gives them a shout out and helps us. And then we've been serving the same Mendocino Cookie Company cookies for years.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you might engage in some mushrooms because, you know, foraging is so popular here.
Yeah, but in the summer we don't have a lot of mushrooms.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that was fun on the skunk train with the mushrooms. What is it? Wine, whiskey, and mushrooms on the skunk train. Wow,
I've been finding some great mushrooms in my own yard, but that's another story.
That's another story. I know I have to keep my dog away from those mushrooms for sure, but I always leave it up to the experts for the foraging of the mushrooms. So I was kind of wondering, do you do anything like that for the festival?
We can't. We're limited in food that we can serve because we don't have a commercial kitchen.
Sure.
So.
And what more do you want? You have Main Street full of all kinds of beautiful restaurants and, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have wonderful restaurants right in the neighborhood.
You can walk everywhere.
Right. You can walk everywhere. Yeah, that's a lot of the fun of it.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you looking forward to this year that will make it so different and differentiate the 2024 season from last year?
Well, frankly, we're still coming out of the pandemic. We had to take a couple years away from our tent concert venue and be in an auditorium in Fort Bragg. And last year was our first year back in the tent. And we were very pleased. People did come back. We weren't sure if they would. We're looking forward to even more people coming back this year. There's a lot of really positive buzz about it. And I do want to stress that, like you said, it's not just here. I always like to refer to our festival community, and it is a very far-flung community. We have 250 volunteers that are here, but we also have people that come year after year from outside of the area, and they love it. I mean, that is their treat for the summer.
I have to admit, when I think about Mendocino County, which I love, it's just so close to my heart, I think of the beautiful trails and the coast and the redwoods and the delicious restaurants and, of course, the vineyards. But music hasn't always been one of my first thoughts. But I'm learning more and more how much music encompasses and represents Mendocino County.
Definitely, yeah. And this has been a very, very important part of this local community for all this time. And it's...
people have grown up with it.
They have, yeah. Right? I'm starting to meet some people bringing their kids, saying, you know, I came to this when I was a kid, and I kind of took it for granted at the time. It was just something my parents wanted. And now you know how it is. You don't love what your parents do at the time, but later... Yeah. Oh, I should tell you another thing, too, about the orchestra and community, and that is that our rehearsals are open.
Oh.
And that's kind of rare. So just about every weekday morning from 10 till 1, the tent flaps are open and people can just walk in. And we have a donation box there, but basically it's a free rehearsal. And it's so great for little kids because, you know, you can't take a small child to a full-length orchestra concert without burning them out on classical music for life.
Right. And they're not teaching a lot of this in school anymore. Exactly. They don't have the funding for it. So if you can bring a child or even a teenager along to enjoy this for a donation, it's a win-win.
It is. And then they can just stay as long as the child is interested. And
I know that the festival, the dates change every year, but the month stays the same?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks every July, and we try to not let it get too close to the 4th because then it's too hard for our setup. So this year it's July 13 through 27. Our setup takes about 2.5 weeks with about 20 people on site every day. People go, oh, it's a miracle, the tent is up.
The tent comes about 2 weeks beforehand?
The tent doesn't, but we have to start building the floor.
The structure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, actually,
I think I've been here for all of that.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Right.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been so fun. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your interest.
Oh.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love talking about the music festival.
And we love listening, and thank you. We'll be right back with more music and its importance and its popularity to Mendocino County when we come right back. Up next, we head to Ukiah, a vibrant music scene, and we are going to share with you a very special venue.
In the heart of Mendocino, the seasons unfold, painting the landscape in vibrant hues of green and gold. As summer awakens, Lake Mendocino mirrors the blue skies above. Here, ancient oaks skirt the water's edge, and wildlife dances across the water. This is a place where peace finds you, and the soft lapping of the lake's pulse sings a song of summertime. Mendocino, magic is real.
Ukiah is the largest city in Mendocino County, roughly around 20,000 people. It's the corridor between Lake County and Mendocino County, and it is also known for its music scene. We wanted to know more, so we came here to the Thirsty Axe. The Thirsty Axe is a staple in downtown Ukiah where local musicians have an opportunity to perform and hone their craft in front of a live audience. Meet Carter Grissom, a talent buyer and musician in Mendocino County. Carter Grissom is in the house to tell us about the music scene in Ukiah. What about it?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, so I grew up here in Ukiah and was raised here, and my mom and my dad would take me to this thing called Sundays in the Park, which is one of the best traditions in Ukiah for me. And every Sunday there's about 3,000 to 5,000 people from the community that gather in our local park, and they have concerts every other Sunday throughout the summer months. And so it became this really cool tradition where we would go and gather as a community and listen to music, and people would have their baskets and their wine and their cheese, and there's vendors, and just a really cool community atmosphere. And so I kind of grew up with that as a younger kid. And then when I got a little bit older, there's places like Ukiah Brewing Company that had live music. And they started having all ages shows, and so I started going to those shows, and there's so much music outside of this little community too, in Willits and in Fort Bragg and all of these places that it's really cool. So that's kind of like what it was like, and then what it's like now. I'm the talent buyer of the Sundays in the Park concert series, and so I get to carry on the torch that was lit maybe 32 years ago.
I think that's remarkable that your family was able to instill such memories for you, but also such talent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I'm a musician myself, and so I actually got to go to the park with my family and watch, and then when I grew up and my band got good enough, we played at the park. And then the next step, I sat down and asked if I wanted to take over the job. So
this is remarkable, because to have that instilled in you at such a young age, how did you know what direction you wanted to go into? How did you find, oh, I like jazz, or I like rock and roll, or I like blues, or what instrument you play?
I like everything. Music has been a big part of my life since I was young. My dad would play oldies, my grandpa would play country music, my mom was into modern pop and things like that. And then as I got older, being in Mendocino County, the reggae scene in Mendocino County and Humboldt County is really big, and we have some really great festivals that bring in world-class reggae musicians from Jamaica and from all over the United States.
So how did this happen? Because I know, just speaking personally, and people I know, we are in the Bay Area, and we don't think music in Ukiah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So has this always been the case, like a core, the heart of Ukiah music, or are you making it happen?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, like I said, I got exposed to music here, so it was happening. And then, you know, a big part of my you know, drive in what I want to do as an adult here in this community is continue to provide music for people, because I think it's super, super important. I think it's healing. I think it's a nice break from our troubles and our worries, you know, and the everyday grind of life that can get us down. And I think that people deserve to have music heal them and come together as a community, and it provides a lot of different things for people, especially for youth. You know, I was so grateful to have those opportunities to see music when I was young, that I want to keep providing those opportunities.
How are you able to navigate around music not being taught in schools anymore, right?
It actually has came back.
Is it here?
Yes,
in Ukiah,
it's here.
In the school district?
Yep, it came back. Yep.
Oh, that is wonderful, because I was going to say that is a huge obstacle for kids. How do they get to embrace and learn how to play these instruments?
Yeah, there's actually music classes that go on from junior high into high school, and then we have the Ukiah School of Music, which has a bunch of fantastic teachers teaching all sorts of instruments, and so there's good opportunities here for kids to get involved in music.
How old were you when you played your first instrument, and what instrument was it?
I was 8 years old when I started taking singing lessons.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a singer, and then I picked up the bass guitar, and I started drum lessons, and so I can play a variety of instruments decently, but I'm a singer, yeah. So I started singing and writing my own songs when I was about 8 years old.
Oh, that is fantastic. I actually I want to say about 5 years ago, I realized I have no talent, and so I took up drum lessons. I wanted to be like Sheila E.
Yeah.
My neighbors asked me to stop. They were very kind about it.
Yeah.
But I love that. I actually, one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I started seeing notes, music notes in my sleep. And I thought that was a breakthrough in reading music.
Yeah.
Because you start dreaming about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I always wanted to be a rock star. That's the only thing. When teachers, anybody asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, it was just, that's all I could think about.
I'll let you wear my leather pants.
I have some of my own, but yeah, maybe we could wear them together.
Yes, we can. I play a mean tambourine.
Okay,
and
you're
cowbell.
In. You're hired. You're hired.
So, okay, where do you perform?
My band performs all over the United States. So,
what's the name of your band?
My band is called Top Shelf, and we play reggae rock music mostly. And
cool.
Yeah, we started about 22 years ago, when I was about 19 or so.
And you're still together?
We're still together, yeah. We're working on our new album right now that should be out sometime in the spring or summer. We have some festivals lined up that we're performing at this summer. And yeah, so I did that full time for about 12, 15 years. And then I started a family of my own, and I was gone in Japan and South Korea for a month when my twin daughters were 6 months old, and I came back and they were 7 months old, and I had missed this window of time, and so I had this, you know, internal dilemma of what to do. But I found a job and a career doing music in a different way, and so I get to provide music for people now, and also still do my band kind of on the side. And so in town, we perform at Sundays in the Park. We perform right here at the Thirsty Axe in downtown Ukiah. And this spot has been a godsend for our music scene. It's a real venue with real sound and a real stage and real owners who care a lot about the music scene here and are bending over backwards to bring people onto this stage and bring people in the door and expose them to music. And so we perform at a few places in Ukiah, but also all around.
Tell me more about Thirsty Axe. How often do you play here, or how often do they offer music?
Music is offered here, I think, almost every weekend. They have bands, they have DJs, and yeah, and I help do some of the booking for this place as well. So I'll bring in some national touring acts every once in a while that perform right here on the stage, And yeah, we've had some really fun times in this room, and it's only been a couple years now that it's been open. So
I love this. Besides learning more about wine and cannabis here in Ukiah, you can learn more about music.
Yeah,
you can make the jaunt. It's only like a 2-hour drive from the Bay Area when you shoot up the freeway.
Yeah,
and 2.5 hours.
And you know, the cool thing is that we have, for some reason, Mendocino County produces some of the world's greatest musicians. Bonnie Raitt is from here. I didn't know if you knew that. Trey Cool, the drummer from Green Day, grew up in Laytonville in Willits. And so, so he's from here. There's Davey Havoc. He's the lead singer of AFI. He's from here. We have the Ford Brothers, the blues band. That all of those boys are from here. So yeah, and we have Carter Grissom.
You have Carter Grissom
from here, you know.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm sure I'm missing tons and tons of folks, but it's interesting how many talented people come out of this area, and hopefully that's because we inspire youth to get involved at a young age and explore that for themselves.
I think it's beautiful. It truly is really a mission in life when you can bring together both worlds, your family life and your musical ambitions and your career, and make it all work together. And you can find that here in Ukiah.
Yeah, totally. And I bring my kids to Sundays in the Park now.
Oh boy, can you imagine
so
the
it's
stories?
all full circle, you know?
Isn't that beautiful?
It's great.
Have you heard from other families who say they've done the same? They've grown up listening to this music and now they partake in it or bring their families?
Yes, of course, of course. It's kind of like a family reunion every Sunday, you know? We get into the park and you see people that you haven't seen for a long time, or people that you see every Sunday when they're there, you know? And so it's a really, really nice thing to do for the community.
What is the time span? When do you have music in the park on every other Sunday here in Ukiah?
We start in the first couple of weeks in June, and we run through the first couple of weeks in August. So there's 6 concerts in total.
Okay, and it's a different concert every other week then?
Different genres every other week as well. You know, so Ukiah is also a very diverse community of people.
Right.
We have people from all over the place. We have a big Native American population here. We have a big Hispanic population here. We have the youth here. We have the old hippies in the hills here. You know,
you have agriculture, cowboys.
Agriculture, yeah, farmers. We have wine connoisseurs and people who have moved up from the Bay Area to get out of the city life. You know, so there's a lot of different people here in our community, and so we, Sundays in the Park, has always tried to provide music for everyone, you know, not just one specific thing. If it was up to me, I'd book reggae every weekend, you know, but it's not so much like that. And so every concert, there's a different genre of music. And we try to switch it up year to year too. We had a lot of blues maybe last year and this, so maybe this year we'll go with some country, or we'll bring in this kind of artist, or we'll see who's available in different genres. So
what fuels you to perform?
To perform?
Yeah.
Oh man. When people are singing along to the songs that I've written, when people are smiling and having a great time, when I look out and see that there's people that don't want to leave, you know, just the interaction with the crowd is one of the greatest highs that I've ever experienced in my life, you know. And there's something cathartic about singing as well that really helps me through tough times. It helps me to relax. It helps me to connect. It helps me in so many different ways that I just can't really do without it.
Okay, before we wrap this up, would you like to plug your podcast?
Sure, yeah. I have a podcast called Like It or Not. It's on all podcast platforms, and it features long-form conversations with my co-host Drew Nickel and I, and we also have guests from our Ukiah and Mendocino community on there, exploring their lives and what motivates them, and it's fun and it's raunchy, and
then I'm in.
And yeah, and so you guys can tune in anytime, anywhere you get your podcasts, Like It or Not, with Drew and Carter.
So to find out more about Carter's podcast, Like It or Not, on also Music in the Park, and also about the Thirsty Axe, where you can actually come and throw axes. right?
Yeah.
You can find all that information out on the Visit Mendocino County website, because that's where we're going to direct everybody to watch this podcast as well. We thank you for having us here.
Thank you for having me.
Can I go throw some X's now?
Let's do it. Okay.
One thing we've noticed in and around Mendocino County is the vibrant music scene, whether you are at the Beachcomber Motel in Fort Bragg, or heading on over to the North Coast Brewing Company, or want to head inland to the Sports Addict 2 in Ukiah. There is a live music scene for anyone, anywhere in Mendocino County. From the city of Ukiah, thank you for joining us for this month's Visit Mendocino County Magic is Real podcast, where this time around we talked all about music, but you could join us for art, theater, the music, also dining, where to stay, and through all of this, you can bring your pets. Thank you for joining us. I'm Roberta Gonzales. See you on next month's edition of Visit Mendocino County Magic is Real.